women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here's your win.
You do any job,
And fail
is to fucking get paid!
of the week.
Garvin, your win of the week.
My win of the week is actually from NXT. I think everything that NXT has been doing over the last 2 weeks has been pretty epic. I've kind of started to waver on TNA. While parts of it are interesting, I'm just not into it like I was, when they the first few taping sessions in NYC. It just seems like they kind of slowed down the story. So I'm not into TNA as much as I had been. I'm not really into anything WWE is doing outside of Ambrose and the potential that he might be facing Rollins at Hell in a Cell. But NXT seems to be continuing to hit on all gears. Every match that they had this week, every match that they had last week, I'm totally enjoying. And also Titus O'Neil teased as maybe a next competitor for the NXT Championship this week. So I don't know if that's what we're going to get, but that would be kind of cool.
Nicholas?
My win this week actually comes from the Indies with FWE, Family Wrestling Entertainment. They had 2 nights of pay-per-view action this past weekend. The first night was free to watch. If you can, you should absolutely watch these shows. Specifically, my wins come from the mixed tag match between Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae versus Tommy Dreamer and Ivelisse Velez. Yeah. That was an excellent match. Joey Ryan and Tommy Dreamer are the 2 most disgusting individuals on the planet. I won't spoil the spots, but god damn, that was disgusting. And the main event for night 1, The Addiction versus the Young Bucks. The Addiction is the indie name for Bad Influence, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. And that blew the doors off. That was an excellent tag team match. Every bit worth the hype.
Cool. From the live chat, Deuce says Evil Thin begins pre-orders on the 14th, so go play your video games. Diva Jill says Havoc is Knockouts champion. Robert Carmichael says The Rock, Dean Ambrose, TNA, Ring of Honor, and FWE. And Blue says win has to be Ambrose again. The guy's just awesome at the moment. My win of the week is actually the fact Hornswoggle was on Chris Jericho's podcast, and it was really a cool interview. Hornswoggle's a guy who just seems to have a lot of fun, and seems like he's really cool, but you never hear much about him. You never hear any actual good stories about him. You don't hear you don't see TMZ really interviewing him oh, hey man, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good, blah, blah. Even with all the Leprechaun stuff and everything, the movies to promote. But it was kind of cool to see a look into his life and how he got into the WWE. That was really cool. So yeah. Fails of the week, Nick?
Yeah, my fail is just the fact that Edge has never come back to be Christian's manager. We all know he can't wrestle, but seeing those 2 back together again just made me realize how miserable he must have been these past few years with the work he's been putting in when he actually has been working, and that whole one more match shtick where he was stuck in an infinity loop with ADR. That was awful. And then seeing him come back after so long, just standing next to Edge for 15, 30 seconds, it looked like he was having the time of his life.
Right.
I would love to see Christian wrestle again if he was having fun like that. And I think the only way he can anymore is when he's working with guys like Edge, guys he's been friends with for years and years.
Odd story coming out of that same podcast with Hornswoggle. Jericho was telling a story about they had come up with an idea for I think they called it Dreamer Ball or Tommy Ball.
Tommy Ball, yeah.
Tommy Ball, where they whip a tennis ball at Tommy Dreamer's nuts, and it came from like Christian and Tommy Dreamer and Hornswoggle, and somehow they got to the point where like these guys used to room together, and the grossest thing, Tommy Dreamer would eat things off the floor, he'd eat boogers, he'd do all this crazy gross stuff, but the thing that grossed him out was when Christian every night would do a full body or a flying body splash naked onto Tommy Dreamer, and it would gross him out.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm going to jump in here quickly with my fail. Minigator. Hornswoggle, praising Hornswoggle in the win, looking at, kind of shunning him in the fail, just to have a reason for him to fight the Bull again. Pretty weak sauce.
All right, Lee, step away from the mic. Let Joe back on.
Fuck you.
It's weird, Joe. I'm with you. I think I don't understand WWE's inability to book stories based on wrestling. Like WLC was a fantastic match. Why can we not continue that feud based on what happened in that match? Why do they have to go and ridicule these guys basically because they're tiny? Let them wrestle. It was a good match.
Right.
The follow-up match was a good match. I don't understand why we have to like gimmick it up just to, have something to laugh at.
Because Heath Slater's involved. You can treat El Torito and Hornswoggle with the greatest dignity possible and have them wrestle a great match. But once Heath Slater gets involved, you have to gimmick the shit out of that, bro.
Hey man, Slater's gonna slate.
Yeah.
Garvin, what's your fail?
I've got a mixed bag of fails. I think it just primarily surrounds the fact that I've been without TV or solid internet for 3 weeks now. So you guys obviously may or may not have noticed that I haven't been on the show. It's because I'm out in the middle of nowhere in Florida. I'm depending on a Verizon mobile hotspot to get internet for this. So I don't have the ability to watch live shows. I don't have the ability to really watch a lot of wrestling without really going out of my way to try to obtain it, which for me is driving half an hour, 45 minutes to Panera to download stuff there and then come home and watch it later on. So, but because of that, I really haven't been able to watch live or at least next day or anything like that. So I'm also missing the live chats. But as I'm watching the live chats on Facebook and even our Twitter feed, it seems like there's, I'm not getting to watch. It seems like everyone is super down, or at least focusing on what is wrong with wrestling and not what is happening on wrestling that has us actually watching. Like, why are we watching wrestling? Is it to just crap on it, or are we looking for something that entertains us? I think this week we kind of changed it up, Nick. You spearheaded that campaign of, as far as like trying to point out the positives going around the wrestling. I'd like to see more of that. So, yeah, those are my fails. Don't be so negative, and please give me better internet. Thank you.
If you want Garvin to have better internet, why not go buy a shirt? FTWpodcast.com/shirts will help support Garvin and his internet habits. And if you miss him on the Minecraft server, it's a good thing to buy that shirt and get your money.
I have not played on FTW Craft in like a month now because of this.
I jumped in today, actually, briefly.
That is so hard. I started a single player world, and it's been so long since I've done that I accidentally chose large biomes, and I'm in the middle of a birch forest for like 600 blocks all around. All I have is birch and oak. Terrible.
Alrighty, from the live chat, Deuce says, fail is WWE constantly recycling the same matches we've seen since SummerSlam. Jill says WWE in general, and especially The Rock. Ooh, sick burn. Blue says, guest stars on Raw, since I have no idea who any of them are anymore. Robert says, Raw. Deuce says, at least they didn't fail the Divas again, not that they don't deserve it again. And Blue doesn't like the fact that I failed Minigator. Too bad. It is not match of the year.
TW Podcast.